Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, relief for American families is on the way. Last week, the Senate passed our version of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the tax reform bill that will provide immediate direct relief to hardworking Americans. Our legislation doubles the standard deduction. It doubles the child tax credit, and it lowers rates. Under our bill, a family of four making $73,000 a year will see a $2,200 tax cut, or a reduction in taxes of about 60% over what they are paying under current law. A single parent with one child making $41,000 will see his or her taxes drop from around $1,865 today to just $488 under our bill, a reduction of nearly 75% over what they're paying today. But, Mr. President, that's just the beginning. The tax bill before us today is going to provide immediate relief to hardworking families. It's going to immediately lower their tax bills. It's going to immediately mean more money in their pockets. But this bill is about much more than that. This bill isn't just about helping Americans today, although it is most certainly going to do that. The bill is about helping Americans for the long term. It's about giving Americans access to the kinds of wages, jobs, and opportunities that will set them up for a secure and prosperous future. And the way that we do that is by improving the playing field for American businesses. In order for individual Americans to thrive economically, we need American businesses to thrive. Thriving businesses create jobs, they provide opportunities, and they increase wages and invest in their workers. But our current tax code hasn't been helping businesses thrive. For years now, our tax laws have left businesses of all sizes struggling under the burden of high tax rates and an outdated tax system that has left American businesses at a disadvantage in the global economy. Small businesses employ nearly half of American workers and create a majority of the new jobs in this country. But right now, small businesses face high tax rates that can make it difficult for these businesses to even survive, much less thrive and expand their operations. Our bill will fix this. To start with, our bill implements a new deduction for pass-through businesses like partnerships, LLCs, and S corporations. This deduction will allow them to keep more of their money, which will allow them to reinvest in their operations, increase wages, and hire new workers. Our bill also reforms current provisions in the tax code that frequently leave small businesses with very little cash on hand. Under our legislation, small businesses will be able to recover the capital that they've invested in things like inventory and machinery much more quickly, and in certain cases, immediately. This, in turn, will free up capital that small businesses can use to expand and to create jobs. Our legislation also includes provisions that I helped develop that will simplify accounting rules for small businesses, which will also help reduce their tax burden, leaving more of their earnings to reinvest in their businesses and their workers. Mr. President, in addition to providing relief to small businesses, another thing our bill will do is to boost Americans' wages, and I should say is to boost American wages, is to lower our massive corporate tax rate. Our nation's corporate tax rate today is currently the highest in the industrialized world, which puts the United States at a major disadvantage next to our international competitors. Reducing the corporate tax rate will enable American businesses to compete on a more level playing field, which will in turn free up money that U.S. businesses can use to create jobs and increase wages. The White House Council of Economic Advisors estimates that reducing the corporate tax rate to 20%, as our bill does, will increase wages for U.S. households by $4,000 annually. That's money that families can use to save for retirement, help pay for a child's education, replace an aging vehicle, or invest in a new home. Our bill will also boost wages and increase opportunities for Americans by ending the outdated tax framework that is driving American companies to keep jobs and profits overseas. Our nation currently operates under a so-called worldwide tax system. That means that American companies pay U.S. taxes on the profit that they make here at home, as well as on part of the profit that they make abroad once they bring that money back to the United States. The problem with this is that American companies are already paying taxes to foreign governments on the money that they make abroad. Then when they bring that money home, they can end up having to pay taxes again on part of those profits and at the highest tax rate in the industrialized world. It's no surprise that this discourages businesses from bringing their profits back to the United States to invest in their domestic operations in new jobs and in increased wages. Our bill, Mr. President, replaces our outdated worldwide tax system with a territorial tax system. Under our legislation, American companies will no longer face the double taxation that has encouraged them to send their investments and their operations overseas. Instead, U.S. companies will have a strong incentive to invest their profits at home in American jobs and in American workers. All in all, the Tax Foundation estimates that in addition to increasing wages, our bill will create nearly 1 million new jobs for American workers and boost the size of the economy by 3.7%. Mr. President, I don't need to tell anybody that American families have had a tough time in recent years, or that our economy as a whole has stagnated with weak economic growth, almost non-existent wage growth, and a lack of opportunity that has become the norm for way too many families. But this tax bill marks the beginning of the end of the Obama-era economy. The tax bill that we just passed will usher in a new era of dynamism in this country. It will let Americans keep more of their earnings right now, and it will improve Americans' economic situation for the long term. And it will send a message, Mr. President, to the world that America is serious about competing and succeeding and winning in the 21st century economy. Under this bill, American companies will compete and win globally, and American businesses, large and small, and the American people will thrive as a result. Mr. President, I look forward to going to conference with the House of Representatives and getting a final, comprehensive tax reform bill to the President. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity, literally a once-in-a-lifetime chance, Mr. President, to make a real difference in the lives of literally millions of Americans. It's time to get this bill across the finish line. It can't happen soon enough for the American people. Mr. President, I yield the floor.